Welcome to the Silent Hill Ascension pre-show. I am, as per usual, Layla, and that is always Eduardo. Eduardo, would you like to take us through the run of show?
My absolute pleasure, Layla. So today, as usual, we have our pre-show. You're here, you know it's up. It's Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. I'm probably not teaching you anything, right? You got the show as well at 6 p.m. Pacific. And in the post-show, we will have Michael, Toby, Ursu appearing. So I'll be with you for the duration of the pre-show. But in the post-show, stick around. We will have our guest appear and in Layla's lovely company. And I know you'll enjoy that time.
Absolutely, as you should, and I simply won't allow anything otherwise. Silent Hill Ascension, if you don't know, is a socially interactive streaming series where all of you collectively shape and experience its evolving story, collaborate and compete with the others to try to make the choices you want. When each decision ends, that choice locks in as canon, and that is the version of the show everyone sees. A canon story shaped by you, the participating audience, every day. And now we have for you a setup scene as Xavier prepares for Ascension. Everybody take a drink. He reveals his plans for Faith to become an aspirant and for Rachel to rejoin the Foundation.
I'm worried about her, Rach. Faith's been acting strange ever since she came back.
I know. It's like she doesn't want to be anywhere near me.
I'm blighted. My words are woe, my deeds are rot. But I am not lost. By hollowed blade I draw out my affliction.
Where did you hear that? Who taught you to say those things?
The lady in the woods. She taught me lots of things.
Nora? The lady who brought you back to us?
I'm not telling you.
Faith? If you know something, you really need to tell us, sweetie.
Rachel, you're upsetting her.
We might be separated, but I'm still her mother, okay?
Faith, why don't you go to bed? Mommy and Daddy need to talk.
If we're ever going to find out why she's acting like this, we need to know who took her in the first place.
I know, but push her too hard and she shuts down. We won't learn anything. Did you see what she was doing? Faith was performing a Foundation bloodletting ceremony. She knew all the words, Rachel.
She's just like me.
Rachel, did you teach her that ceremony?
Are you serious? Of course not.
Then who did she learn it from?
That's what we need to find out. What about Nora?
What about her?
Don't you think it's suspicious that she just showed up at the Foundation with Faith?
I guess so. I mean, they're keeping her locked up there until we're sure we can trust her.
If she's the one who took her, who did this to her, I want you to find out.
Even if she was the one who took Faith, she wouldn't just come out and tell me.
Please, Eric, just try. For Faith.
Oh, welcome back. We hope you enjoyed that, even though as a scene not quite as advertised. Here we're back to see another tense moment with the Hernandez family who simply cannot catch a break.
That's the thing. You know, Faith for her dolls, so creepy we had to run it twice. But the big thing about yesterday's scene was really Xavier's appearance, right? Kind of like, you know, the Foundation, Rachel, Xavier, all a bit on the warpath. But yesterday, Xavier offered to bury the hatchet, only to offer Ascension. As you know, and when a cult offers Ascension and Rachel is concerned about friends and family and sparing their family, let's be real here. Ascension, a cult, and that dialogue cannot be good.
No, it absolutely cannot be. Though, you know, we do love it when somebody in the story says the title of the thing. When that happened, when we were reviewing the scene internally, we had a nice hoot and a holler about it, as we love to do. But yeah, very interesting here. I think we've commented on Xavier before being a little bit involved in, how do I put this, stirring the pot? He's a pot stirrer. He's quite good at it. His traps are just ripped from it. So I do wonder what his actual intentions are here, because I don't think they're as stated.
No, that's for sure. But I do love one of the phrases from that scene that was played yesterday is he looks at Faith and he's like, the child is special. I could not agree more, Xavier. Totally on point.
She's certainly, listen, she's an artistic talent, a visionary, just a young Dolly in the making, but she's also just so creepy, especially now that she's back. So I do wonder what Xavier's intentions are, because I certainly couldn't tell you off the top of the dome. But hey, let's talk about the larger story of Pennsylvania while we're here. Eduardo, would you mind reading off of the graphic that production's going to put up for us?
Right, production's put it right up. I love our production crew. So, growing more concerned about Faith's behavior, Rachel seeks answers about her disappearance. Xavier prepares for Ascension and reveals his plans for Faith and Rachel. We did try to show that to you. Don't worry, it's in catch-up, and you'll be able to see it in the episodes as usual. So, you've probably seen the scene, but if you haven't, you'll have a chance to. And finally, after getting to know Nora better, Eric makes the decisions about setting her free. Don't be near the door. But that's the thing, right? Kind of like one of the lines I liked actually between that scene and Nora and Eric is like, Eric's like, "Oh, are you still there?" And she's like, "No, I stepped out for lunch."
I love that kind of stuff because, I don't know if I've done it to you or Noah yet, Eduardo, but every once in a while somebody will be like, "Hey, Layla, I have a question," and I'll hit him with something like, I have an answer, and that's all you get from me, because I am unfortunately a father trapped in a young woman's body. But yeah, again, so Nora is interesting, right? Because Nora's kind of, we don't know where she's blundered in from, but she's blundered into this mess. And the poor lady rolls into town. She's like, hey, I have this lost child I would like to return. And what does she get for it? A stay in the Foundation, brownstone suite with no accommodations, no free drinks, no nothing. Yeah. Just standing there.
Just some candles, some light mood lighting, just making sure you're comfortable on the nice wooded floor with some lovely candles.
Yes.
Not the best guest house I imagine we've seen, but after all, maybe they're preparing her for Ascension too. Like, it's time, gotta see what happens.
Gotta see what happens, I certainly, would hope for safety for poor Nora, because she seems well-intentioned, but at the same time, the well-intentioned don't seem to do particularly well in these kinds of settings. So who's really to say? But hey, Eduardo, we talked about Pennsylvania. Now it's time to take a little transatlantic flight over to Norway. Would you, if production would kindly put up the graphic, and would you kindly tell us what's going on over there?
Absolutely. So that's going to be on screen as well for all of you at home. I hope you're having a great time wherever you are around the world. It's always great to be in your company. Now in Norway, though, if you are, that's a little bit far, but the thing here is Britt tries to resolve the confrontation. She doesn't remember starting. That's, again, that scene where she was with her support group and they're, accusing her of doing pretty horrible things, but she doesn't remember. So, and then she faces Smiling Britt too. At least there was, as the audience lovely called him, Giga Chad, that helped with support group number 2. Now, Astrid commiserates with Leho about Orson, and Dilrace Hadrandal are meeting with Aura. That's something that's important about Astrid, right? Always gets that information first. And finally, Astrid unpacks the idea that the Lady of the Lake might be real and asks Britt to contact Nils, fundamentally for help. That was one of the scenes as well yesterday where Astrid reads through the folklore, tries to figure out what is going on, kind of like that scientist research coming out.
Yes. The Johansson sisters have this problem that they keep encountering, which is that the people they're surrounded by have, for some reason, and now we know it's because of what Ava did, have it out for them. So, Haugen, she seems to be coming around a little bit more. She's looking to also bury that hatch. Nils does not seem to be holding a shovel with which to bury the hatchet. If anything, Nils is sharpening the hatchet, so I'm not really sure if I would be going to them for help.
Well, that's the thing, right? That's one of the decisions, with Nils. How will Britt convince Nils to help her? Now, that's not tonight. That's actually on Monday. But actually, the audience is really split on that one. Like, there's 3 days still to figure it out for you at home. But there's a lot going on there. Feigning romantic interest, apologize for cutting them out, let them interview her about Eva. Lots of methods. Astrid was like, pick one. I don't care. By the way, Layla, I want to come back to something you said in Pennsylvania, right? Because you said you were a fodder trapped into a young woman's body. That
Correct.
might be the correct theory as to why we have Smiling Brit, right? We had Smiling Carl, and now I'm wondering if Smiling Carl got trapped into Brit. That would make sense, right? That would be the theory that kind of unlocks the potential of that scene, and it's why the reflection's there, right? She finally sees who's trapped inside.
I mean, listen, inheriting my father's worst qualities is part of the reason my therapist could probably retire on me alone. So I support that theory. I'm pro.
Yeah, and it's important, right? It's always important to have a retirement plan. And Layla, I'm happy you're contributing to that for, unfortunately, others, I guess, rather than yourself. Anyways, I'm going to sip this lovely water. There's tea also. And I'm sure you'll talk about something in the meantime.
Oh, yeah, sure. Well, you take a nice long drink. Would you say that drink is going down smoothly, or is your esophagus being traumatized by the liquid? Yeah, that's right. I'll make a joke while you're drinking. I'm not beneath it. I'm not above it. Anyway, while we're here, would you like to talk to us about endurance scenes?
Well, yes, endurance scenes, the fate hope system, all of it, right? The decisions, the puzzles, the endurance scenes that are contributing to how characters are going to survive. Essentially, what's going to happen to them in Silent Hill Ascension's finale. Now, that finale was very close to very soon for some of the characters. After all, in our post-show, you'll get an interview.
What the fuck? The 1 fucking second I step away.
And, untimely death. Welcome to the Silent Hill Ascension experience, right? We are the dealers of death to all of you, and also to our characters. In the, when we're talking about fate and hope. I cannot speak.
That's fair, Lila. But by the way, there is something that happened as well. It happened to me, audience, so don't worry. It happened, I think, to everybody. It seems like the app kind of refreshed, like everybody had the app crash and reload. So we were talking about kind of fate and hope, but we want to make sure you're all here. Don't worry, this is like part of our normal conversation. You haven't missed anything too critical. Just come back in, take a deep breath. You're not missing the show. It's all good. We're going to take our time. We're going to have a lovely time together. And we're going to remember, again, the interview with Toby's in the post show.
Absolutely.
So all the important stuff is still there to come in a couple of minutes. So don't worry, audience, you're not missing a thing.
No, unless you missed me being so distracted by the app refreshing that I started talking about cameos instead of fate and hope, in which case you didn't know that happened. But hey, we got a decision closing this day. Production, I know you have a beautiful graphic for us.
Right, so this is closing today. So I'm gonna actually check the results. So this is how will Astrid manage Orson when Aurora visits, a fate decision. So the options are for redemption, let her see his violent behavior. Suffering is sedate him to keep him calm, which, doesn't really help, doesn't really hurt, maybe. Or prevent her from seeing him, just like, get out of here. Just not interested in having you here. Now, the not interested in having you here is actually a really good description, because that's not the option that's going to probably win tonight, given Damnation is that far behind. But it is really close between Redemption and Suffering. Like, Redemption is winning by quite a margin, but there's a rally on Suffering. It's not... I doubt that Suffering will take it down tonight. It seems like Redemption, let her see his violent behavior, is going to be the one here, Layla. So let's say that's the one, right? Like, there's quite an edge. Maybe our audience will surprise us, but I think in this case it's going to be a bit rough. So Layla, we got how will Astrid manage Orson when Aurora visits? That's going to play out tonight. Now, you know what the scene is, so this is a trick question. But, let her see his violent behavior is going to be kind of an interesting play out, right? Because there's this idea of, okay, let's roll with what we got.
I know the scenes plural, right? We've seen all the options, but it will be quite interesting to see what's going to play out because how do I put this? I think it's interesting that again, sometimes the redemption choices don't feel like the redemption choices, right? So letting Aurora see his violent behavior feels borderline counterintuitive as a redemption choice. But I do also think the chat kind of has it out for the kids, so I can't say I'm surprised that they want those children to get those just desserts. And
I know the audience is hoping that Orson bites, which is a reasonable, totally reasonable request. Now, Layla, no spoilers, but I'm with the audience. Orson biting would be great. I actually don't know what's going to play out in the scene audience, so I'll be as excited as you are. I shouldn't like stoke the flames about this. I don't actually know what happens. This could backfire, hopefully. No, Orson's violent behavior it is hard to face, right? Like any person who spends more than a minute with the child knows that there's something wrong with them.
Yeah, most children are little freaks. Having taught children for a short time, I think I can stand by that. They say the darndest things. We're going to find out shortly in just a couple short minutes what's actually going to happen, right? And so get y'all's votes in. But a reminder, there's the interview with Michael Toby Ursu after the show. That'll be me and Michael. And as it's almost time for the show, let's talk about endure scenes.
I'd love to, Layla. So the thing is, those endure scenes, a lot of you in the audience have seen them, but in case you are not familiar, right? It starts, you have time to input your actions to what you see on the screen, and you can help the characters, right? If you collectively succeed, the characters will rise, otherwise it will fall. Now, again, if they fail those endurance scenes enough times, they may not survive future encounters, and that may lead to their permanent death in the story. I am thinking about you, Eric, who started well, not doing so hot right now, are you? Now, the thing is, the incentive for that is that these endurance scenes are one of the best places to earn large amounts of influence points, kind of a reward for you, the audience, to be here live. But again, whether you succeed or fail, that's part of the collective story. It's not a judgment on you. It's not a skill assessment. Essentially, we're not testing your button clicking skills. So that's the thing. Now, if you weren't here on Wednesday, we did add a feature for people who have video stuttering. So if you've been doing the endurance scenes, fine, no problem. But if you have the video stutter, there's the ability to disable kind of like the heads. And that helps for performance issues that some of you may have been facing, video stuttering. So that's in settings. If you ever need to, you can do that. But here's the thing. The show's going to start really soon, in just over 2 minutes. So I'm going to ask Layla to take it away, recap what's been going on.
We have trouble in Pennsylvania and trouble in Norway. What else is new? We got Xavier up to his old tricks. We're not quite sure what his intentions are. We got the Hernandez family falling apart. We got Faith being a little creep on the other side of the world. We've got the Johansson sisters starting to kind of get cornered by their circumstances. Orson is acting out and they simply don't know what to do. There's always trouble in little Norway. And now Aurora's back and back on the case, so to speak. So can't wait to see what great news that will bring. But yes, again, stick around after the show. It'll be me, it'll be Michael. He's delightful. I got to meet him on Tuesday, so you guys will have a great time. There will be a little bit of a Q&A too, so get some questions ready for him or for Toby. But otherwise, Eduardo, do you have anything to wrap us out?
Not quite. I just want all of you at home to enjoy our show tonight, both the scenes that you're going to watch, as well as Michael Toby Ursu's appearance. I know you're going to have a great time, but I'm going to say bye for now. I'll just be in the back enjoying it with the rest of you all at home.
And I'll be back. Have a good one, everyone.